Merch Minds Podcast, episode 135. Yang is ready. I am ready.
135. Wow.
And yep, we are here. We're live, ready to go. Special guest today. Where do you want to start? What are we talking about?
Well, let's talk about our numbers. First of all, let's see. You want to go with your last 7 days?
Sure. Let's see. Last 7 days, 50 products sold, one return, and estimated royalties $150.15.
Okay. My last 7 days, 80 products sold, two returns. Product purchases $1,519.68. Estimated royalties $286.41. If I recall, that number has gone up a little bit since last week. And again, it's nothing. It's just up and down, right? There's nothing consistent here. The only thing that's consistent is the numbers are, at least in my opinion, for me, they're down. Um, not where I want them to be. The good thing is though, I've been selling some new shirts. So
Okay.
that's good in the sense that now that I've sold one, they're locked in and loaded. I don't have to worry about them removing those. So that's good. Um,
But look,
but
last 7 days, if it's at $250 plus, then you're guaranteed $1,000. I mean,
yeah, but still, it's just, gosh, man. I just missed the days of making 3K consistently, um, when I only had like 350 shirts live,
yeah.
right? And mind you, I was able to do that when Amazon was restricting everything. You couldn't even sneeze on the platform, right? They're like, "Oh, you sneeze, we're gonna fucking ban you for life," right?
Yeah.
And I was still able to scale. It's just now I have more than that, and yet I can't even freaking. I'm barely making $1,000. It's frustrating. Um, so this show is actually a little late. That's because I had meetings uh, all day Monday, all day Tuesday. Um, I had a meeting this morning, but I have a meeting tomorrow.
Dang, this guy's a
So,
busy man.
well, this is for my day job, right? And it's because we're so Stanford's weird, man. So Stanford University, their fiscal year starts in September.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So September 1st is the beginning of our fiscal year. So we're getting towards, we're closing out our fiscal year, obviously as August is ending. So we're trying to get everything finalized. Um, so yeah, so we've been working on that. So like I said, I have meetings all day tomorrow. Uh, so I just can't wait until August is done. Let's see. So great news. Glenn, I don't know. Do you have a passport?
I don't, but people keep telling me to get one.
Did you ever get a passport?
And I've never gotten one.
Okay. So I had a passport up until a few years ago, because it had expired, and then I lost it somewhere in between my move from my old place and my new place. Um, and so ever since then, I never had a passport since, right?
Okay.
I finally went back yesterday, got my passport renewed, which is exciting because that means I can again maybe
Go somewhere.
considering my back holds up okay, I can leave the country again, because I used to do a lot of traveling, so I'm really really looking forward to that. But man, dude, I almost had to reschedule because they were asking me about my on the application. Well, first of all, they said it doesn't matter if the passport expired and then you lost it after it had expired, it's still
Hmm.
considered lost.
Hmm.
So they had me fill out a brand new application, like this was my first time. And
Okay.
one of the questions that they were asking me was, "What are your parents' birth dates?" And I couldn't remember like I know when their birthday is, I just couldn't remember the year,
Of the year. Yeah.
right? And I was like, "Oh man," I was trying to call them, they weren't answering, and anyway, I was able to get their birth dates, but if you ever go and do apply for a passport, man, make sure you know your parents' birth dates.
I gotta remember this.
Yeah, because that is definitely one of the questions that they ask in the application.
So how did you figure it out? They finally answered?
Yeah, yeah, they finally answered. I just kept calling and calling. They just probably got sick and tired of the phone ringing. Um,
Here's a question though. Do your parents speak fully English, or they know multiple languages, or
my dad speaks English, but it's broken,
okay.
right? My mom, dude, my mom doesn't. When she came to this country, she didn't bother learning the language.
Oh, okay.
So it's funny because it's the most funniest thing ever, dude. So she barely speaks English, and I barely speak Korean, right? So we gotta like meet at the halfway point when I talk to my mom. It's the most funniest thing. Um, so yeah, man, just make sure, and this is for everyone. If you guys go and get your passport, done, make sure you know your parents' birth dates because that's definitely on the form. And so yeah, super excited about that. Let's see. I'm trying and testing some new things with Nimble. Since I've been working with them a lot behind the scenes, I don't
Mhm.
want to disclose what I'm doing quite yet. But if things work out, I'll definitely share what I'm doing in the near future. And just one last thing before we get into the interview for the week. Someone emailed me and said, "Young, I just got approved for Merch by Amazon. I'm computer illiterate. How do I start?" Okay.
Okay.
And I figured I would just answer that question on the podcast instead of responding and writing a long email. At this point in time, I think if you're so he sounds okay, and I apologize. His name's Ted. Ted, I apologize. But to me, he sounds like he's an old man, right? He's like, I don't know anything about computers. And if you're not, I apologize. But I would say this, man. At this stage right now, if you have just gotten started on Merch by Amazon and they just approved your account, I would say stay away from look. We've had this conversation hundreds, if not thousands, of times. Stay away from sites like Fiverr. I'd rather have you do your own work instead of going to sites like that. Okay,
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee you that you can probably do a better job than some of those so-called designers on Fiverr. Okay, so if you just got your account approved, I would say go on YouTube. Okay, you don't have to be very tech savvy. All you got to do is just do a search on how to use Illustrator, Photoshop, or if you don't have access to those, excuse me, if you don't have access to those apps, there's Canva, which I know is free. I personally never use. There's a bunch of tutorials that you can watch. Okay, again, all you got to do is just do a search and press play. Um, and um, um, and if that's too much for you, if that's just even if that's a little too complicated, I would say um, definitely look into hiring designers. But you got to do your research. You have to do your research, okay, and make sure that these people who claim that they are designers, okay. Um, I don't remember what the numbers were, but um, it was something like 60 or 70% of services on Fiverr are graphic design. And it's like with that with that many freaking designers on the platform, it's like how do you filter out who's who and who's legit, right? So I would
Yeah.
say if you don't want to learn something new and do your own design, just you got to do your research and hire real designers. And the best thing um, I can tell you is if you have some money to invest, that'd be good. You probably have a better advantage than most. And if you don't want to spend any money, again, you're probably going to have to just go on YouTube and teach yourself how to do a lot of these things.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's the best answer I can give you. Let's get into this week's interview, man. We have a super cool guy, very talented man, Drew. Was it Posa? Damn
Yes.
it, I forgot
Yeah.
already.
No,
Sorry,
it is. It is.
I'm over here butchering your name. Very talented guy. We had the privilege of meeting him briefly in Seattle, um, but he's on the show. And the cool thing about Drew is he's so humble,
Oh
right?
yeah, super humble.
He's talented, but he's so humble, and he's always willing to learn new things and whatnot. And uh, but yeah, and the thing about Drew is, as talented as he is, he is struggling. So let's talk to Drew and figure out where he's at, at this point in his merch career. All right, guys, we have a really cool show with a really cool guest. Someone I had the privilege of meeting in September last year at the Seattle conference. Glenn, did you get a chance to meet our guest?
Yes, briefly.
Yeah,
We didn't get
very.
to talk a lot, but it was brief. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, hallway kind of.
Drew,
Hey,
welcome.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself. Who are you? And yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
and I'll try not to ramble. Drew, last name is spelt kind of weird. It's a crazy Hungarian name, but it's Pocza, and so I go by everything by D Pocza, just like any hashtags and whatnot. The easier way to keep it simple and findable. Freelance illustrator. I teach yoga and pretty much try and find the next hustle, and then in between walking the 5 dogs, sort of a thing. So never a dull moment, but there's always room for more fun stuff. Some of my main client work is Saddleback Church down in SoCal. I do a lot of their stuff for their kids ministries, and then a lot of I've actually weaned off of some freelance work because they've kept me busy enough, and then that gives me time to try and push like the whole merch thing and the POD stuff, and that's where I'm really lit and excited about doing stuff creatively, because as much as I love Saddleback Church and love doing their stuff, creating the same, not the same. We're illustrating the Bible, but so there's only so many different wonky Jewish characters I can draw and not kind of get I don't want to say over it, but you know what I mean. So just spicing it up with crazy tacos or whatever it is.
Yeah, you want to do different things. Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I'm just going to throw it out there, but we had the privilege of meeting through a friend of mine, Amber Timmerman.
Yes.
Who absolutely refuses to come on the show. So I'm just going to throw it out there, Amber. And you know what? I'm almost convinced she doesn't want to come on because she doesn't like Glenn.
Oh, I thought I heard something about that.
Yeah,
clearly.
Yeah, but
I first met her there at Seattle as well, and that's how she could see that I'm kind of a wallflower, and so she kind of pulled me in to meet different people, and because I was just kind of, this is so weird, but yeah, very very nice person.
Yeah, no, she's sweet. So how'd you get into illustration? Because you do some really amazing work.
Thanks, man. Well, I was doing. I've always doodled and done artistic stuff, but it wasn't until I went to work at a sign shop. I had newly gotten married, young kid, working at a sign shop. Met a dude who was the graphic designer at the sign shop, and he was going to school at night for that. And I mean, not at night. He was working at the sign shop at night, but he knew that I could draw, so he started having me kind of do illustrations for some. What was it? Flash back then, games that he was working on, and then it just kind of I realized, I can do more, and so then I started to get more and more into it. Like then I'd work at an advertising agency, and when they figured out that I could illustrate, so slowly the design stuff went away, and just illustration started to take place, and I do get to design a little bit now and then, but it's mostly my stuff. And I'm very happy to do that. I like designing my own like catalogs or business cards or just, T-shirts, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been I'm old man Drew. And so it's been a long time getting here. And I'm still trying to figure out what it is I want to do.
Hey man, you and I both, man. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do when I grow up. So
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Glenn, did you have any questions for him?
No, I was just man, Flash. I remember how
Right.
how difficult it was to even like learn some of the basic stuff. I was struggling so bad with that, and then that,
Yeah.
and also like, doing websites with like Dreamweaver. I think Flash
Yeah.
combos. Oh
Dreamweaver.
my
Yep.
Oh,
gosh.
jeez.
And wasn't there? There was another one, I think, Director or something like that. I think it was more of a multimedia thing. So if you wanted to make like CDs and stuff like that, interactive discs, whatever. It just, but that went to the wayside. But yeah, old days, Yeah.
And did you? I guess doing you were doing design and you went into like illustration. When you're doing graphic design type of stuff, was it more? You said more of a kind of like marketing. Would you do like billboards or anything like that?
Some of the stuff it would be, but it'd be mostly for let's see. When I was really got my start in it, it was working at a ad agency in DC, and so I would do different things. Just start off as a little spot art, like one of the magazines. One of the clients that they had was a magazine,
Mm.
a niche kind of magazine that I'd never even heard of, and I still couldn't even tell you what they did. But I would do spreads for that. But then I would populate the spreads with my little art assets and making them up as I go. And then that's kept going and going. Next thing you know, now I'm doing the cover of that magazine or whatever. And it's just kept growing. And
I think
but billboards, I don't think I've actually done a billboard per se, but lots of anything and everything else in between.
yeah, I guess I just asked just because when you're an artist and you're going through, designing things, you learn quickly. I think that you want to do your own stuff because
Yeah.
once you like doing things for clients, and it's just totally different in design school or art school and things that you learn. And once you're out there in the real world and the things that they want you to do, I
Yeah.
guess for like marketing and communication type
All
stuff, it's
right.
just totally different. And I'm like, I know nothing about some of this stuff. I don't care about some of this stuff, and now
Yeah.
I'm like designing for it. It just got really weird.
Yeah, and then sometimes you don't agree with whatever it is that you're doing.
Hmm.
I've been fortunate to not have to do stuff that I don't agree with, so that's good. I was asked one time, but yeah, there's many a time where you're just like, oh, I got this.
Yeah.
But I had a great production manager who purposed to everybody got like a crap job, like a
Mm.
gig, like a project. And it fell on my lap one particular time. And she just gave me the best advice. She's like, everybody wants to have all these like these glorious projects that are just going to be amazing and successful. But the real challenge is to take the shit job and turn that into a little diamond.
Mhm.
And I forgot how she rephrased it for me, but it just really stuck with me that you can take something and really just push it. And that's what I ended up doing. And the particular job landed way more work for the agency in general. And then it was a sales thing for kids. And so, but it was very kid friendly. It was like Nickelodeon had designed it. And
Mhm.
that was my emphasis, is to really make it fun. And then, so then the people came back and said, you know what? Yeah, that actually did that upped our sales by the most ever. And so I was very, very
Nice.
confident very happy that I took that position instead of bemoaning something and
Yeah.
try and make it really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. For any of the potential graphic designers, freelancing is not hard, obviously, and what you just said kind of reminded me. Um, it's you know s- you always have to listen to what the customer says, even if you don't like doing it because you need to collect that paycheck.
Yeah.
Trust me, man, I've been there, man. So uh,
Oh man.
we go through that all the time.
Yep.
But so how'd you get into merch? Because like I said, I mean, we obviously met at the Seattle conference.
Yep.
Um, how'd you get into merch? And what's your? How are you doing now? Because I know you were having some issues because we talked not too long ago on
Yeah.
the Average Joe show.
Yeah.
But how'd you get into merch, and how's your account now?
Let's see. not this past spring, but so I guess let's see, September. This September will be a year for me in merch.
Okay.
But just before that, in the spring, I had gone to a thing called Creative South, and it's in Atlanta, and a lot of my friends go, so it's really cool to finally all meet us up, it was the emphasis had been on illustration that year, so I was really excited to go. But there was a dude in there who Dustin Lee, I think is the last name. You might be familiar with him from what is it called? Retro Supply Co.
I know the
Amazing
company.
brushes, textures, and anything from Photoshop to Illustrator stuff.
Sure.
Amazing stuff. Well, it was about his story about how he was like in debt. I think he said like 35 grand. He had a new kid on the way, and he had to think. He was up against the wall. Had to think of something to get out of debt to provide for his family. And there was a very inspiring story how he would just get euphoric hearing that, like, now we hear the pretty merch alert, that ting, or the sonic noise, you get that buzz. And he said he was just making money, people buying brushes or his fonts at the time, left and right. I bought a lot of his stuff. So anyways, so I thought there was a silk screen t-shirt thing going on. I thought I'm never going to do silk screening or anything like that. But there was something he had said about the passive income, and I was already starting to think about Shopify and what is the other company, the Printful or whoever. And I started doing homework, trying to figure out who's got the best stuff. And then I had seen one of the Chris Green videos, and okay, I'm going to apply for merch. And I think I got in like maybe a week. And and I started to go really well. Like, I mean, I boomed through like the first like up to, tier 100 really fast. And then boy, I am still stuck. Just like I just hit 500 over a couple months ago. So I'm just loading, and I'm trying not to get caught up in
500 designs, or you're at
500 tier 500.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm still a new kid on the block, and I am not making the sales. My sales are abysmal. I think last month or the month before that, I've been working with Matt and RJ and trying to do stuff that they've encouraged me to do, and I have seen the growth. But which is great, because I was really, really bad at getting almost to like, you know what, screw it, I'm done. But Matt has taken me under his wing and really encouraged me to think outside of myself. So I'm making the gains, I'm making the progress, but like I just got my royalties for whatever month, just the other day when they hit the bank, I made like $34. I'm like, all right, well, I got gas, so I can go to work. Well, I can go teach yoga. But I'm not doing anywhere near what I dreamed to be and what I would love to do. But I'm trying, my mindset now is load all the slots, but load them with as good quality of stuff as I can in preparation for Q4, and then see what happens.
Yeah, so this is gonna be your second Q4 coming up then, right?
Yeah, I actually did really well on all things considered for last year. One particular shirt did well, and I just sold one 2 days ago, a Christmas shirt 2 days ago. So I don't get it.
Yeah, so I mean, so here's the thing. So one of the things that we had talked about on the Average Joe show was, I mean, look, we don't need to critique your artwork, because I think we can all agree that you do amazing work.
I appreciate that.
But I think at the time, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were talking about creating more of a brand, and you wanted to kind of like stick within this one nut, and you kind of didn't want to get out of that nutshell. And I was just like, man, I was like, Drew, do stuff that other people are. I mean, if you really, if you're really dedicated to just creating that brand, that's great. But chances are you're probably not going to have a good paycheck. But if you want a nice paycheck, you're gonna have to kind of, and I know you don't want to be like the sellout, right? But make the dabbing dog shirts, make the make the Area 51 shirts, and get paid, man. Because look,
that's the truth.
All those Area 51 shirts, right? And I see them, right? And then they're some of them are good, and then some of them are just whatever clip art. dude, you can come in, do original work, and it's good quality, it's good quality art, man. You can just blow everyone out of the water, because all it takes is just one to catch,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And then
Well,
people just start buying hundreds and hundreds of them.
I did a few Area 51s, and
Uh-huh.
then there was the big hullabaloo about people think, oh, it's copyright, it's copyright. So I just went around. I still did it, but instead of saying Area 51, I wrote out Area 51, trying to find a work around the system and that I could feel good about, because I never want to push the envelope knowingly,
Hmm.
and jeopardize my info, sort of a thing. But yeah, I've had a great time cranking out other stuff. It still looks like me. It's still me. Right now, I'm going through this really big kawaii phase, where everything's just like repulsively happy. Like tacos, just or I'm thinking in terms of now fall. What is it? Pumpkin spice kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So
dude.
I'm doing what you're saying, getting beyond. I did a slew of cliche T-Rex backpack, but Drew style,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
roaring into first grade kind of stuff. And I only sold a couple of those, but I feel very confident in my design, but it's hard cracking the code, whatever it is, of
Yeah,
just the free, the what do you call it? The keywords and stuff.
yeah, absolutely. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Glenn. The game has completely changed.
Yeah.
I remember when Amazon, when merch by Amazon was
Hmm.
still young, and it was a pretty much a free for all. I mean, you can put up anything and it would sell.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna come out and say it. I've said it before. I don't mind saying it. I think, and this is my own personal conspiracy theory. I believe that Amazon is still throttling people.
Mm.
That's just my own personal theory. Again, people call me crazy. So it's gotten much more difficult. So I mean, those days are over, and I've always said, look, it's more about quality than quantity. You're definitely doing the right thing. Uh, uh, my suggestion to you would be uh, your research is really important. Like I said,
I'm learning that.
in the past, you didn't
Yeah.
have to do any research. You can just put up anything. You can make a shirt about Glenn, right? It'll probably sell, right? Oh, I don't know Glenn, but I'll buy it anyway.
Right.
That's how crazy it was, right?
Wow.
But now you got to do your research. You got to figure out what's hot. Um, but at the same
Yeah.
time, and I was never a believer of keywords, but until I met Matt.
Yeah.
He made me a believer. Um, and Yeah, and good quality work, because
Hmm.
a lot of the people in this game, they're in it to make a quick buck. You're obviously in it to make a real business out of it long
Yeah.
term,
Yeah.
and you're definitely doing it the right way. My suggestion to you would be, because a lot of people at this point will give up. Don't give up. Keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
Um, I get frustrated all the time myself because I have not met my goal. In fact, my numbers have dropped significantly since I started.
Mm.
Um, but it's still something that I enjoy doing. Even though I don't meet my goal, I like doing it. Granted, I don't do my own designs anymore. I just got
Oh,
exhausted. I just got done exhaust. I don't want to do it anymore.
yeah.
Um, but it's still fun for me. So I would say, don't give up, man. Just keep plugging away.
That's encouraging, because I do struggle, like Eric and I, your nemesis, we kind of
Who?
we
Eric
Rosner,
Eric Rosen.
yeah, we
Oh,
kind of
man.
bitch and moan every day. How are your sales? How are your sales? Shit, I'm just throwing spaghetti against the wall, and it's just like, well, I'm like thinking, okay, we're the bitching, I've curtailed the bitching so that it, because I don't want to be negative. I want to be positive about the whole thing. And I found that the less griping I did, the happier I am about it. But even if I'm not making sales, it's like, well, hey, I'm still producing the best quality that I should and could. And now I don't know where I was going. Eric got me. I got thinking about Eric, and then he derailed my brain. But we have this camaraderie of like, I don't know, should we just say screw it? But no, we spur each other on. When he's down, I'm up, and I'm like, hey, you got to stick in this and just keep going. And it's this, we have this really good camaraderie going on of encouragement, and I know he could be a grump, and that's a great place for him to be, but we're trying.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I never heard of Eric, but yeah, that's great. No, actually, you know what? He texted me the other day. He's a good guy. He
Yeah.
really is. I poke fun at him. We go back and forth and stuff, but no, he's a good guy. And
Yeah.
yeah, but it really is. I mean, the game has completely changed. And a lot of people, Glenn, he's technically quit doing Merch by Amazon,
Yeah, that's wild.
right?
Yeah, I was
Um,
and this is something too that I keep telling people too, like with merch or any other platform, you're really gonna have to, put in that work, and when you find something that's really working for you, you have to just keep going all in. And like if you find something that's working for you in merch, let's say like a certain niche is selling really, really good for you, that I can now go deeper in that niche and make more shirts related to that and make them better and better, and making different types of designs off of that. And I guess for me, selling in different platforms, like I found success doing something else I was doing better than merch, and I was like, I really need to go deeper in this and keep getting results while this is going on. But everyone's into different platforms, but at least the good thing is now is like there's no better time than now to be making money online, regardless of what you're doing. So
that's true. That is true. But yeah, I mean, Glenn just got sick and tired of all the freaking changes that Amazon was making. It was like and I'm not gonna lie, I get frustrated too, right? Sometimes I just want to reach into my computer and just choke someone on Amazon. Like, sons of mother. And it's just like, oh man. But I bite my tongue. I'm like, it's their platform. I've always said that. You just gotta roll with it.
Yeah.
Have
Well,
you?
I think. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, please.
Well, I was gonna say, Glenn. I remember reading about some of your early success, and I was using that as fuel to kind of encourage my wife that, hey, this is something I really want to push. She's a workaholic in a good way. I mean, she's my inspiration to keep going harder, because I don't want her to have to do that, do her work forever. It's pretty stressful, so I want to get a goal of her working for me, and by that I guess it's just gonna be walking the 5 dogs, but to see that there's other people out there making money, doing good money, that's inspiring. And something that I was telling Eric about is, it's that whole philosophy of, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results. Well, before, like we had mentioned, that I had this idea of this brand and that I wanted it to be a certain thing. Well, that wasn't working, so I had to, okay, that's not working, so change. And so now do a Bigfoot dabbing, do the Area 51, try and find those cool trends and the evergreens. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm listening to the people. It's more research. It's diving deep. Cross niching, and I'm really. It's all I think about, and even going to a Dirty Heads show over the weekend, that, okay, this is recon. I'm going to see what the people are wearing, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, absolutely. And now, and I don't want you to give up on your goal of having your own brand, but if I recall, I did mention, I think like, if you want to grow your brand, and I'm no marketing expert by all means, okay, I'm just kind of talking from my own personal experience, but I think, did you ever check out the Etsy platform? Because I think your stuff, your artwork would do really good, and you create a brand on Etsy, right? Because majority of the clients and customers on there are moms, and you do good work that I think will appeal to moms and ladies. You got that cute artwork and yoga. You got that yoga thing going. Have you ever checked that out?
Well, that is in the mix, and full disclosure or transparency or whatever, I go through what I consider adult onset depression. So I just kind of, like right now I'm on a high. I'm on a creative high, and things are. I can't stop. If I could just drink Red Bull and whatever, I would just never stop. But I know that that's not healthy. But that's the balance. I'm not the balance. I got trying to find that balance of getting off the couch, and being productive. Like, hey, so I'm working through stuff and being able to be more productive even when I'm in a funk. I know it's like, okay, there's some stuff that I can do. Almost just do it, no brainer. But the passionate stuff that I'm about right now, I can't stop. And so Etsy is on my plate. I know there's a long way to get around to coming back to Etsy, but I had invested a decent amount of cash. I bought my own silk screen setup. My sunroom is a silk screen studio right now, and I got to get back to pushing that, because my goal was get the 500, get as many slots as I can fill up, bulk up for Q4. But at the same time, I'm also trying to master the craft, because there's some stuff that I am never going to put on merch or anything else, because I feel deep down, like way down deep in there, that it's a friggin' gold mine, and I need to get that stuff onto Etsy. But I want it to be, I want to have the complete control. The screen printing, the quality control, the design control, everything. So you're right. I am very into that's my next phase, is really push Etsy in the next. I've got some time off from a client, so I told my wife I'm going balls out for a silk
because I think that'd be a great platform. Did you, by any chance, listen to an episode a couple of weeks ago when we had a Who Man on the show?
No.
So a couple of weeks ago, so he, and I'll kind of put this in a nutshell. So Who Man started on Merch by Amazon, just like all of us.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't finding the success that he was on merch, so he went onto the Etsy platform. And long story short, he's doing like $10K a month, and that's net. That's not sales. That's net. And he showed me his store. And he has good designs, but they're not what am I trying to, I mean, they're not original drawings or illustrations like you, right? So I think if you can brand yourself and put all your stuff on Etsy and make a brand, oh my gosh, I mean, imagine. I mean, and he's charging premium prices, man.
You can there, because people expect it. Yeah.
And people pay it. People pay it.
Well, I want to be. That's ultimately where I want to be, or at least some sort of more tactile experience. I want to be able to throw in, if somebody orders some shirts, I want to throw in, here's some stickers, some coasters, whatever it is. I want to, either hand sign a note, whatever it is. I really want to be involved in knowing about the person and that sort of a thing. Or at least not knowing about them, but obviously I'm going to know a little bit about them by what they're buying, that kind of thing, and just cater to the handcrafted experience. And I think that Etsy will be the way to get there.
You remind me of Glenn. Remember we had that guest a lot. I can't remember his name. Actually, his name is Jeff Finley. I have his book right here. You remind me of this guest that we had very early when we started this podcast. His name's he's a graphic designer, and he's an author. And he wrote a book on print on demand way before before it was even popular.
Oh wow!
And one thing that he told us was he said because he mentioned that he kind of stopped doing print on demand, but he said if he was to get back into it, he wants to be a little more hands-on, like he wants to make the shirt himself. He wants to package it himself.
Yep.
And like you said, add those little extra touches like colors and stuff like that. And so you kind of remind me of him in the sense that you want to be more hands-on, which I think is great. I want to be more hands-off. Like I don't want to deal with all that. I don't. That's the beauty of print on demand, right? Like I don't want to have to package because here's the thing. Glenn and I, we come from the reselling community originally.
Yeah.
and we've done that, and we can still do it. I still do a little reselling. And after having done thousands and thousands of them, I get freaking annoyed sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I can see that.
I just don't want to deal with stuff like that no more. But yeah, I guess there are people like you, man, that just want to, they want to be more involved in stuff like that.
There's just something. Well, I think it's like like maybe it's the yoga teacher in me, because I love to make people feel good. And so what I do is, and I know you guys saw some of my stickers on my water bottle in Seattle, and so what I do is I make random yoga with Drew stickers, so little cartoons of me doing different yoga, either poses or phrases, and then I sneak around during like the end of class in Shavasana. If someone's done just an exceptional job, whether they're pro, I want to say pro, whether they're like ethereal or not. If it's some older guy that just came in, he's just trying, I give them these little gifts, these little things in it, and they just beam, and so it's that personal experience
Cool.
that I try and give, and so I want to do that. And my wife is so like I'm so cloud and feel good and earthy, and my wife lives in an Excel sheet. And so she could be, my goal would be to have her work for me so that she could handle all I'd want to do is create, just draw, send up, print, whatever it is. And she can handle all the numbers and everything like that. She's an accountant, so she loves that stuff.
Right.
So that's my goal, is to really just make it so that we're a family business.
That's cool. Going back to Who Man, but what I was going to say was, when he was doing his Etsy store, he then met his girlfriend, who at the time wasn't even involved with print on demand, but she was able to leave her job, and now she's helping him out with his business, kind of like what you talked about. So check out that episode. I mean, we don't get too much into his business, but we did talk about it a little bit. But if you want, when the time is right, I can maybe connect you guys. He's a cool guy, man. He's awesome.
Right on. It seems like everybody most people who I've met have been really genuine and good about the old days. You'd have to like get an internship or an apprenticeship, and you'd have to work hard to get the information that people are now just freely giving. And it's
and I've said this from the get-go, man. This community, for the most part, seems really, really helpful. I mean, there are some bad apples, but for the most part, everyone seems willing to help each other. I mean, to this day, I get messages, and I tell people, look, I'm no expert myself, but I can definitely share my personal experience, and maybe you can learn something out of that. But yeah, man, this community has been awesome.
Very much so.
Yeah. So we'll let you go. I just have a couple more questions for you.
Yeah.
I never knew Neil had a dad up until now. Drew.
That's that's gold. I don't know if it was you. I think it was somebody who was with Neil at the conference, and I heard, I didn't know. There's Neil's dad, and I didn't know where it came from, and so.
That's funny. No, it wasn't me.
Now you know where it came from.
I think it might have been his girlfriend or something. I can't remember what the story, because he was doing a live thing, and I told him something about, I don't know how we got talking in the chat while he was trying to do something, but ended up being about like tattooed hands, and he's like, you don't have tattoo. I mean, yeah, I do. And he's like, well, prove it. And so I had to, in the chat, kind of take pictures of my knuckles, send it, and he's like, okay, he's legit. He's not just blowing smoke. And but yeah, very funny. And so it's nice to see another. I mean, he's got some great dreads.
Yeah, man. Hey, Glenn, do you have any tattoos?
I don't. Okay. The wife does, but I don't.
Okay. I will show you. I will show you my tattoos, but I would have to take my pants off. If you know what I mean. I'm just joking. But how long have you been doing yoga for, man?
Probably like 4 years.
Wow! And within 4 years, you became an instructor?
Yeah, I knew right away. Like my first not even a year. I used to teach martial arts, and I got a I was just old man Drew, and I was just feeling the what we jokingly call concussive therapy, the beat downs, and it just was taking longer to heal and mend or whatever. And so they had a yoga class at the dojo, and so I took it, and I knew, boom, this is it. This is where I need to go. And and then right at around the same time, my ex decided, she's like, oh, I'm done. We're out. So I thought, well, I'm going to do teacher training. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to immerse myself. So it was therapy as well, to go through divorce and then to be learning how to teach yoga. And I absolutely love it.
What kind of martial arts did you train in?
Taekwondo and modern arnis.
Uh-huh.
Modern arnis is a Filipino style. And Taekwondo is Korean.
Yeah.
But loved it. Got to do the second degree black belt in both styles. And so that was a lot of fun. But I missed the grappling and I missed the weapons and stuff like that. But
no, I've been doing martial arts since I was a kid, and
nice.
I've done all kinds of styles. But I was mainly into, later in my life, I was mainly into the grappling and
love that stuff.
The Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I mean, I got my blue belt under the Gracies.
Wow.
And then I quit doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and then I started training with Frank Shamrock.
Wow, really? Dang, that's cool.
Yeah, but no, I wasn't a professional fighter. That's not what I'm trying to say.
Right.
For me, it was more of a workout, right?
It's a pain. Anyone who even does that as a workout, it's a good abuse.
I used to train with Frank Shamrock, and then Kung Lee, who's the next UFC. So San Jose is considered like the UFC capital of the world. Like all the
right.
Big names come here to train for some reason.
Yeah.
And then I used to train with Kung Lee in kickboxing. Again, for me, it was a workout. Yeah. And but I have a history of lower back problems to the point where it's just it's crippling. And I tell people, if you've never been through it, you won't understand. Like you can't do anything.
Right.
Even sitting or sneezing it's the most painful thing ever. But someone told me to try yoga, and I did, and I enjoyed it. But it's just, I don't know, man. I just I don't know.
You know what kind you did?
I don't know.
Was it like a hot room and like you did the same static poses over and over? That's the Hatha Bikram style.
I just don't know if it was helping my back or not. I don't know. I mean, but
you should do a yin class. It's a therapeutic class. It's called Yin, YIN, and it is I teach a therapeutic class, and it is it's phenomenal. Anyone who's working out, you should also do a Yin class, because you're holding a pose like a pigeon pose or whatever for like 4 minutes each side, because it takes about 2 minutes before you even get those muscles to stretch and to realize I'm relaxing. Where the hot class, you're just power, like it's like the Autobahn. You're hot and you're moving fast. Slow stretch. And for your lower back, you need some nice holding of those poses. And if you actually fall asleep, cool. It's that mellow of a class.
I've done that. Glenn, I don't know if you've ever done yoga, but at the end of the class, the instructor's always talking, and he dims the light, and you're like laying on the mat. Dude, I remember one time I was like,
I woke myself up. I've heard other people snoring, and so that's a class that I would say for you.
Okay.
I've been really trying to fuse yoga more with my illustration, and I know that sounds weird, but they're both creative. So I'm looking at me as the brand. So I'm trying to get unafraid of and get brave to be like on camera, things like that, because I know I have had a lot of students and a lot of friends say, if you did a YouTube channel, I would follow it. And now I'm thinking, I want to do art and yoga. I want to do like all things Drew, but so I wanted to start a vlog about just my merch or even design tips. BJ's doing a great job at that. He's been encouraging me to try to do that stuff too. There's a lot of, like, I'm doing KDP now. I've got 2 books up, journals, but everybody's doing journals, but it's fun and it's a different hustle. So I'm trying to think again, yoga, how am I going to do all this stuff? But I want to be I want to be more of the brand, but since I am the brand, and I don't mean, it's not an arrogant thing. It's just, but that's what it's morphed into.
Oh, and I think you have a unique, and I don't mean to cut you off there, but I did. But I think you guys were supposed to laugh at that, but okay.
That's okay.
But I think you have a unique story, and I think if you did start a YouTube channel, I think you would get followers. I think Glenn would probably be the best person to talk to about starting a YouTube channel.
That'd be awesome.
But I think you have a unique story. Again, you being the brand, and I think you can easily integrate your YouTube channel with your Etsy store, man. I'm telling you.
Exactly.
And I think you can do really good for yourself. Seriously.
Dude, I appreciate it. See, that's what's so cool. Different people, you resonate and you just ping out these ideas, and then you're like, oh, there's validity to something.
Look, here's the thing, and I talked about Glenn and I talked about this. What's this guy's name? Is it the YouTube guy? Is it Sean Dawson?
Shane
Dawson.
Yeah.
I've watched. I'm not. I've said this. Okay, and it's nothing against him personally.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched a few of his videos, and I couldn't stand it. I was like, how in the world does this guy have millions of followers? It makes no sense to me. Okay, if someone like that can have a YouTube channel, you, my friend, can have a YouTube channel. Seriously.
That's so funny. Yeah, I think my poor wife. She used to love taking selfies, and she's all into photography and stuff. And then I came along, and it's like she's I see her pulling the camera out, and I'm like, gone. But I'm trying. So, but I appreciate that encouragement.
No, seriously, I think again, with your background and story, I think you would have it would take a while to grow the channel.
Sure.
Right, Glenn? Like everything else, it doesn't happen overnight. But I think everyone has a unique story. I mean, I could probably start a YouTube channel. Granted, it'll just be an angry Asian just yelling at the camera, but I think I would get followers probably, right?
Exactly. Oh, that's hilarious.
So,
I love it.
Well, cool,
I'll
man.
hit you up, Glenn, because that would be super
for
helpful,
sure.
man. That would
any questions, anything I can do to help on that, I would definitely help any way that I can.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, hey, man. Hey, keep us posted on how you do. We would both love to have you back on the show, maybe in a half a year, and just kind of see where you're at with your progress.
Yeah.
A little regrouping. Yeah.
Maybe after Q4 or something.
Yeah, actually, that'd be dynamite. See how, because this is my test. Like, I'm going to see how Q4 goes, and then. But I think, like you mentioned, Etsy, I think is going to be my world. So I'm looking forward to that. So that might be. I want to be kind of like get to a point where like Matt's doing. Like he's not even doing anything with merch anymore, but he's just ching ching ching. It's still going on while he's developing Etsy and Shopify. So multiple angles.
Yeah, no, that's what I've been doing. I've been working on my Etsy store a bit more. So
epic.
Yeah.
Right on.
Thanks again, man, and we'll talk again here in the after Q4.
Cool. You guys have a great one. Enjoy the rest of the summer.
You too. Really enjoyed the interview. Went super smooth, super cool guy, and really got to check up with him after Q4 and see his progress and see maybe what he did, what he learned, what he didn't learn from going through his second Q4. But definitely want to have him back on.
Yeah, no, definitely do want to have him back on. But just a cool guy, very easy to talk to. Love talking with the guy.
He did well with your Neil joke.
Yeah, he has a good sense of humor. Look, if you're gonna come on the show and you don't have a sense of humor, I don't know what to tell you. If you're gonna get your butt hurt, I apologize. But cool, man. What's going on with you? Anything?
The same stuff. I mean, it's kind of. Well, today I ended up going to the hospital to talk to one of the victims from the shooting, hospital shooting, and because I wanted to figure out, how I can give back when it came to, we talked about the soccer cleats and things like that. So he was one of the coaches that did get shot there, and it was, man, it's different hearing and seeing things, and kind of like being a part of it, or even what you see, but to actually talk to somebody firsthand that went through that, it's totally different. But we're working something out on how I can give. But so many people from El Paso, even from different cities, and have come down and supported them in different ways too. I mean, it's just, I mean, it's awesome how many people have helped, but at the same time, it's sad of everything that they've gone through.
Yeah, that's very
But yeah,
unfortunate. But we can definitely take something like this and do something positive for sure, man. So, um, hey, well, good for you, Glenn. So, look, man, we're not always about trying to take from you guys. In fact, we're always providing content, and in Glenn's case, he's doing better for the community. So, good for you, man.
thanks, appreciate that. So yeah, that's really what I was up to today. I just do like my usual live show on Wednesdays, and yeah, just trying to prepare, I guess, for like Q4, various platforms, anything that I can do,
Hmm.
and that's pretty much it for now.
Good stuff, man. Well, cool. Well, hey, I appreciate you being patient with me this week. I know we normally record on Mondays. Today is Wednesday. Um,
Things
ho-
happen. Busy man.
Hopefully next week we'll be back to normal. Until then, guys, thanks for listening.
All right, see ya.